So I managed to hit Plat 1 with Super Quants on two accounts actually. I've been playing Super Quants since somewhere around early 2019. I actually physically purchased the deck in April of 2019. At the time, I think it was Endymion that was running rampant, and honestly, it was a lot of reading. I didn't really have a clue what was going on during Modern Yu-Gi-Oh at that time. So I thought I should probably focus on a strategy that just focuses on myself, and that led me to unaffected monsters. And I was already aware that Magnus was a thing. If you're not aware, Magnus, when he has four materials on him, he's unaffected by everything except Super Quant cards. Um, the other option was Ultimate Falcon. Everyone knows about Ultimate Falcon. Waking the Dragon's target. I think everyone should know about Magnus as well, to be honest. If not, just because this is the guy that made Kaiju's pretty popular. I'm not going to play Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon. I'm not going to play Raid Raptors at all. I'm not a huge fan of the archetype. I think Wing Beasts are cool, but nah, not for me. Uh, Power Rangers, though, absolutely is for me. So, okay, take three. I realised my mic wasn't on. So, it's been a couple days. Do apologise. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, I know this is not a common deck to see on the ladder, so I'll just go through the core strategy. What you want to do is you want to turbo this guy out. Not a lot of people are running outs in the meta decks right now. Kaijus aren't popular at all in most decks that I've seen. A lot of decks pretty much deck themselves out trying to find a way to out this guy. And especially in a best of one format, people aren't going to run Kaijus at all. So what you do to turbo this guy out is you use your field. And what your field can do is use your smaller mechs to overlay into your Magnus. So your blue, green, red, and white, you can Xyz summon into normally, which is rank 3, rank 4, rank 5, and rank 7. And what you can also do using the field is you can discard a card from your hand to overlay your pilots into your mechs. So if you had a red on field, you can discard a card, and then you can Xyz summon it into your red mech by using your red layer. So a lot of the strategy revolves around searching for the field as quickly as possible, getting as many of your mechs on field as quickly as possible, overlaying into Magnus, and that's usually what you want to do turn 1. Turn 2 and onwards, or secondary lines of play, I guess. You have Zeus. Yeah, this is an Xyz deck. You're going to run Zeus, no matter what. I did find out about this tech, the Lyrilusk tech, in which you can attack directly, and that enables the Zeus overlay. So that's been pretty cool, actually. And since your main way of starting off your combo, which is Alphan, he is level 1, and he can turn all your monsters on field level 1 as well. So you can Xyz into this, and then attack directly, overlay into Zeus in main phase 2. Downward for the Zeus as well. Another line of play you can do is Megaclops. He uses 3 Xyz monsters as materials. It's a link summon. And he is unaffected by monster effects, except those of Xyz monsters, so Zeus is a problem. What you can also do is he can overlay using one of your opponent's monsters into an Xyz monster in your graveyard. So this can clear board late into the game. What else have we got? I use the Saryuja to fish for the field a lot of the time using the form material effect. You can pretty much dig through your deck trying to find your field or trying to find your last pilot, and then you can special summon your last pilot onto the field and overlay into your mech if you have the field on board. So this guy I've not seen a lot of people actually use him, which is really confusing to me. Like, this guy is really useful to me. I've managed to make Magnus with him so many times, and I'm really confused why people don't run him. Uh, I know the extra deck space isn't huge, but this guy is essential to me. Let's talk about the packages that I use. Um, Diviner was not a thing when I first started playing this deck. This is new to me, coming to Master Duel, and he is so effective. Or she, I'm not quite sure. I think it is a she. um, but she's really effective because she can summon out your Alphan. If you when she's tributed, she can special out a level 2 or lower fairy, which Alphan fulfills. And when you send this guy, Trias Hierarchica, into your graveyard, he can tribute summon. Well, I'm not sure if it's a tribute summon. It's a special summon, but it tributes your Diviner, and then that sets off, and it lets you special summon your Alphan. Alphan is pretty much the starter to this deck. You can't really play the deck without this guy. If you send out, uh, if you banish 3 of these guys, you are in for a really tough time. Uh, but if you do, this deck can play mid range because your mechs offer a lot of disruption. If they have the right pilot, so your blue mech, it'll destroy spells and traps. Red destroys monsters. Green is a Book of Moon, pretty much. White negates on field. And if they have the right pilot, then they all become quick effects. Otherwise, they are ignition effects that you can only use on your turn. Danger Package, I was already familiar with when I first started playing the deck. I actually didn't use the Danger Package much at all when I first started playing the deck. I was actually a Brilliant Fusion player, and that was banned in the TCG. It's legal in OCG. Let me just check this out. I was playing the Predaplant, and yeah, Predaplant off with Scorpio is limited, and that was a way to get out a lot of summons, and of course get your free summon with Seraphonite. But I wasn't really feeling Brilliant Fusion this go around, because I knew Nibiru was going to be a huge thing to deal with. I was very scared of this card. Thankfully, not a lot of people on the ladder were playing it. I think just because the game at that stage was pretty early. I know a lot of people have it at this point. It is the 29th at this point. I got my Plat 1, I think it was around about the 25th, maybe 24th, maybe. And I got my second account, Plat 1, on the 27th. So yeah, at this point, this deck is going to be really tough to play because it is very fragile to hand traps. If Alphan gets hand trapped, then your turn is pretty much over. But yeah, you can play mid range by using these mechs because it does offer disruption on the enemy's turn. Okay, I think that's it for this deck. Oh, I'll talk about Lightning Storm. Yeah, this deck does nothing on second turn. If you don't get turn 1, the deck just rolls over. So I have been thinking about using Dark Ruler no more. Dark Ruler, where are you? Yeah, I've got 3 Dark Ruler no more, so I'll likely be putting this in. Maybe putting in some hand traps as well. I was very much against it early on, but now that we've gotten to the point where people are a lot more prepared, I think I will need to start using these, which I'm dreading, to be honest. I don't really know how to use hand traps just yet. I have started building live twins, pure live twins, which uses a lot of hand traps in their pure builds. But unfortunately, the game doesn't have BODE yet. which has their new link. So this deck is, while it's not unplayable, it's very weak at the moment until we get that new link 4, which I really like. So I'm just waiting for these guys to get their link support before I properly play them. So this is just going to be me talking over my last game to Plat 1. This is a 47-turn Mexican standoff with an Eldlich player who can't out me, and at the time I didn't have Zeus, so I couldn't out his board either, which was pretty much a full set board. And my win con at that point was to deck them out by constantly recycling with my blue. What the blue layer does is when she hits the graveyard, you can recycle 3 of your Super Quants. So that was my win con. I guess I'll talk about what I want to do with my account. So originally I was going to start off building Live Twins, but they don't have their full support because BODE is not in the game, unfortunately. So that was kind of a bust. I managed to find the Super Quants really quickly during my pulls. I realized that they were in the same secret pack as the Spirals, and I thought, maybe I'll go for them. Super Quants are pretty much the only thing that I know how to play at this point. The second deck that I wanted to actually play was Magic Muskets, which I have started on. I don't have a fully playable build yet. I still need a couple of Xyzes. Like, I need Utopia Lightning because Magic Muskets, they really need out of archetype support to actually do any damage. They don't really have decent OTK value unless you have staple extra deck monsters like Boral Sword, Access Code, stuff like that. Pretty much finishes in general. So that's in the works. I think with my first account I actually regret going for Magic Muskets because I'm not going to play them a lot. I don't think. It was a deck that I wanted to try, but after trying them I'm not a huge fan. I wanted to play a blind second deck, but Magic Muskets were the only thing that I could figure out were a blind second deck that was decent. I knew Crusadia Kaiju was a thing, but I had played a lot of that in Legacy of the Duelist. I didn't really want to bring that deck to Master Duel because it's kind of cheap, I guess. It's like a turn 2 non-interaction thing, which I didn't really find appealing. I think Numeron OTK was actually something else that I had the same sentiments about, that I didn't want to play because it just felt like it felt kind of soulless. So that was out of the question. And what I mean by that is that I think the strategy is very repetitive. Like, you kaiju over them and you summon a bit and then you attack into them and that's game. Like, it wasn't really appealing to me. I guess it just felt very linear, and those aren't the decks that I want to play really. The decks that I do want to play in the future, I don't think even the TCG has all their support yet, so I'll be waiting a long time for these. Since Synchro is my favourite summoning mechanic, I've been looking at Synchrons with the new Stardust support. I really like Cosmic Blazer Dragon. Baron de Fleur is an insane piece of support for Synchro decks in general. Speedroids is something that I've wanted to check out. I haven't really looked a lot into Speedroids, but they seem pretty cool to me. Symphonic Warrior is something that's quite close to my heart. I used to play a Zephyr Symphonic deck a long time ago before they got all their searches. This was before Providence. I want to say this was like in MR3 actually, so a very long time ago. And Symphonic Warriors have got new support now, which is very complicated to use. I am super flummoxed by their combos. I think I'm getting better with them in EDO Pro, but the learning is very slow and they feel like they're very fragile. I think they need to find the things in their combos very quickly, otherwise they will just die very quickly. That's my assessment of them, and they die to hand wraps as well. But they do make an insane board with like 3 negates on one and a Baron de Fleur as well on top. So I think they could be fun if I manage to figure them out. Valiance is a new archetype that I kind of want to check out. I did do a bit of testing with them. They seem fun. They don't really seem competitive to me, but I think I'm missing something with them because everyone seems to say that they're the strongest pendulum archetype going. So I'm very confused with them, but I will be testing with them. Beyond the Pendulum is something that really helps those guys out. So that is a piece of support that is going to be a long way down. I think those are the archetypes that I want to play very far down in the future. So just for now, I'm focusing on building Live Twins and Magic Muskets. And maybe Zephyr, since I really like Zephyr. But the Zephyr seems very, very expensive as a deck. Like, they have a lot of pieces of archetype support that's needed, like things like the DDD and stuff like that, and the Yangzing extra decks spaces as well. They are going to be very expensive, so I am dreading building those guys. I think I might have to build them on my second account, or maybe even just start a new account, because the gems have completely dried up on my first account after chasing Magic Muskets and Live Twins at the same time. So that's going to be a problem for me. I guess I'll talk about my general thoughts about the game. I have played a lot of YGO Pro. It is EDO Pro nowadays. And I feel like the animations in this game are very, very slow. And the players also are very, very slow with decision making, which is understandable because it's a new game, and a lot of people are new to the game as well, and a lot of people are new to their decks. Like, I think I know how to pilot this deck, so I know my plays, but of course others won't know their plays, so they're going to spend a lot of time thinking. Like, even when I was learning Live Twins, I think I was spending a lot of time thinking through my plays. So I can understand that people are going to be sluggish playing, especially when it's their first time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In years and years. But it's still very frustrating when people are just setting and passing after like 5 minutes of just thinking. It's really frustrating. And things like these don't seem like an eternity on EDO Pro. I think the timer in this game is way too long. I guess it's generous because, of course, it doesn't want to alienate new players, but it really just physically pains me watching people play these long turns. Long turns of not even doing anything even. Like, I've spent like 15 minutes at a time just attacking into the same monster turn by turn while they're looping their combos or just thinking. It's really frustrating. So at least I have the Geargia mate to entertain me with rock, paper, scissors while I wait for people to finish their turns. But it's still not ideal. I don't really know a solution to it. Maybe lower the timer down. But I know that would be a burden on the player base as well, so I don't really know whether that's a decent solution or not. And when I get really annoyed with the game, I can always just go back to EDO Pro, start testing there as well. I don't know whether they have the ban lists for Master Duel on EDO Pro just yet. I've only really been using EDO Pro like since April, I guess, just to test combos out for new archetypes that I want to play, especially the Symphonic Warriors. I've been trying to figure out Symphonic Warrior combos for a long time. It's really not clicking though. I won't give up though. I really want to play Symphonic Warriors. It's just taken a long time as well. I've been testing out a lot of Valiant combos as well. I don't think I understand the ceiling of the deck yet though, because everyone says that they're insane and I'm just not seeing it at the moment. I haven't really tested out Beyond the Pendulum much though, so I guess that's something that I have to figure out how to use before I before I really understand the deck. Beyond the Pendulum is insane. It's like Electromite Boogaloo. I'm really happy that it's a thing now. I just have to learn how to use it. I'll do a bit more comparison with EDO Pro, I guess. I think EDO Pro does their timers a lot better. But the thing about Master Duel is that it has a progression. It has a ladder. I do know that YGO Pro, different variants of YGO Pro did have progression back in the day, like they had a ranked, but I don't think it does that anymore. I'm not quite sure. Even so, it's not the same as an official Konami product, so it's not really been appealing to me. But I guess I do get to play out new archetype stuff in EDO Pro, so that's a big plus. And of course, turns will not take anywhere near as long as they do in Master Duel, because for the most part, people know how to play their decks in EDO Pro, which I'm incredibly grateful for. It's just that I'm still scared about setting out into modern Yu-Gi-Oh! On EDO Pro. Because I know the players in Master Duel are still trying to learn the game, whereas in EDO Pro, people are familiar with the game enough to know to play on an unofficial simulator. I know the real pros are going to be testing in Dueling Book, but EDO Pro is still daunting to me. Luckily, there's an AI in EDO Pro, so I don't have to embarrass myself in front of an actual player while I'm learning combos. And I think that's it really. Main gripes being the game isn't up to date with all the support, and timers being too long, and I guess gems drying up as well after your first account start, which you can bypass with making new accounts, but that's kind of tedious. I knew instantly on day one that I wanted to re-roll my account, so I had to make a new Steam account, which was really annoying. I've never done that before. I like all my things to be on one account usually, but I wanted to re-roll my account enough to start a new Steam account, so there's that. And in conclusion, I will be building out Live Twins, Magic Muskets, and in the future, Symphonics, Speedroids, Synchrons, and maybe Valiants if they ever come into Master Duel, which will be likely a very long time, a very far ways off. In the meantime, beforehand, before all this new support comes in, Zephyrs have interested me, and those are really the decks that I want to play, really. That's about it. Oh, and I guess, since this channel is pretty much dedicated to Cristrons, I will say that I am not attached to Cristrons whatsoever in TCG. I don't think they're very good at TCG, but they're the closest thing to a non-linear kind of combo deck in Duel Link, so that's why I was attracted to them, and they're a synchro deck as well, so that was a big part of why I was attracted to them in the first place in Duel Links. But I don't really have any attachment to them in Master Duel at all. I won't be building them. I'm not even looking into them. I did pull a Quarry and Gandrax, which was pretty neat, but I'm really not asked about them in Master Duel. So don't expect to see any Cristrons from me in Master Duel. Yeah, sorry about that. It'll mostly be Live Twins once they get a new support, because I don't feel like Super Quants will do very well once everyone has their hand traps and know how to play their decks. Yeah, that's it. Cheers for watching. Maybe I'll do a new video in a couple months. Who knows?